friends, myself Professor Khyati Gupta, working at Dr. Subhas Technical Campus, Faculty of Pharmacy, Junagadh. Today in this video lecture, we will talk about routes of drug administration. So, there are many routes of drug administration. You all know about that. You have experienced any route anyhow at your interval of your life, okay? So here routes of drug administration is mainly classified into two routes, that are local routes and systemic routes, okay? Local routes are classified further in three types, that are topical, deeper tissues and arterial supply, and systemic routes are further classified into oral route, rectal route, nasal, parenteral, sublingual, cutaneous and inhalational route. Okay, in this video lecture we will learn about these all type of routes, their limitation and their advantages. Okay, now some factors are there which govern choice of route of drug administration. Okay, what are these factors? First is physical and chemical properties of drug. Okay, in that first is dosage form. Okay, if the drug is in solid dosage form like in tablet or capsule, you have to administer it in the form of tablet, right? If it is in the form of suppository, you have to administer by vaginal route or rectal route. Okay, now if the drug is in the liquid dosage form like syrup or elixir, you can administer it in the by the oral route, right? But if it is in injection form, okay, solution form, you have to administer it by parenteral route. Okay, next is gaseous form. You can administer gaseous form of drug by nasal route or inhalational route. Okay, solubility, stability, pH and irritancy are the other factors that govern choice of route. Second is site of desired action, like localized or approachable site or generalized and not approachable site. Okay, if the site is approachable and localized, okay, so you can administer drug by local route, okay, by rubbing the medicament on the skin at this type of way, right? Or if the site of action is not approachable and generalized, you have to choose the route of drug administration on that type. Okay, next is rate and extent of absorption of drug from different routes. Okay, there is different type of route and different type of rate and extent of absorption of drug of every route, right? Like if you administer the drug by oral route, okay, its rate and extent of absorption will be slower. Okay, but if you administer the drug by parenteral route like intravenous route, okay, then rate and extent of absorption of drug, it will be higher. Okay, next is effect of digestive juices and first pass metabolism on the drug. Okay, if the you administer any drug in the basic form by oral route, okay, then digestive juices and hydrochloric acid that is present in the stomach will ionize the drug. Okay, and the free drug cannot reach to the site of reaction. Okay, so this is the effect of digestive juices and first pass metabolism waste many proportion of the drug. Okay, next is rapidity with which the response is desired, right? If you are administer any drug by any emergency, then you have to choose the route like parenteral route, IV route, right? But if it is a routine treatment, you can choose oral route, which is more convenient than parenteral route. Okay, next is accuracy of dosage required, like IV and inhalational can provide fine tuning, and condition of the patient. If the patient is unconscious or vomiting patient, you have to choose any like parenteral route. You cannot choose oral route. Okay, so these were factors that governs choice of route of drug administration, right? Now we see individual route. Okay, first is local routes. In that, first is topical, This refers to external application of the drug to the surface of localized action. Okay. Next is deeper tissues. Certain deep areas can be approached by using a syringe and needle, but the drug should be in such a form that systemic absorption is slow. For example, intra-articular injection for knee joint. If you are using hydrocortisone acetate in knee joint, the more favorable route for it is intra-arterial injection. Okay. Likewise, infiltration around a nerve or intrathecal injection of lidocaine or retrobular injection of hydrocortisone acetate behind eyeball. For this all drug, we have to choose deeper tissues, that is more beneficial. Okay. Next local route is arterial supply. Close intra-arterial injection for contrast media in angiography. Anti-cancer drugs also can be infused in femoral or brachial artery to localize the effect for limb malignancies. Okay, so these both are administered by arterial supply route. Okay, in which closed intra-arterial injection is used. Next are systemic routes. In that first is oral route. Okay, we all know about oral route, which is oldest and commonest mode of drug administration. Okay, more safer, more convenient, does not need any assistant, often painless, and the medicament need not be sterile. So this route is cheaper. Okay, both solid dosage forms and liquid dosage forms can be administered by oral route. But there are some limitations of oral route of drug administration. First is action of drug is slower and thus not suitable for emergencies. Okay. Second is unpalatable drugs are difficult to administer, like chloramphenicol, which is unpalatable drug is difficult to administer. Drug may be filled in capsules to circumvent this. Okay. Oral route may cause nausea and vomiting, cannot be used for uncooperative or unconscious or a vomiting patient. Absorption of drugs may be variable and erratic. Certain drugs are not absorbed, like streptomycin, because it is hydrophilic drug, right? It will not absorb through oral route. Others are destroyed by digestive juices. These are penicillin G. Okay, penicillin G is degraded by digestive juices. Insulin or in liver, like glyceryl trinitrate, which is used for angina pectoris. Okay, testosterone like hormone and lidocaine like drugs are destroyed in liver. Okay, so these are the limitations of oral route of drug administration. Second systemic route is sublingual or buccal route. Okay, you have seen the patient that put a tablet in the under the tongue. Okay, so this route is sublingual route. Okay, the tablet or pellet containing the drug is placed under the tongue or crushed in mouth and spread over the buccal mucosa. But only lipid soluble and non-irritating drugs can be so administered. Absorption is relatively rapid. Action can be produced in minutes because the drug absorption is from tongue, right? So it will directly reach into the systemic circulation. Though it is somewhat inconvenient, one can spit the drug after the desired action have been obtained. The chief advantage is that liver is bypassed and drugs with high first pass metabolism can be absorbed directly into systemic circulation. Okay, so first pass metabolism is not here, it is the chief advantage. Okay, drug will not waste. Drugs given sublingually are glyceryl trinitrate, then dopamine, oxytocin, etc. Okay, next route is rectal route. Now, certain irritant or unpleasant drugs that cannot be given by oral route, okay, that are given by rectal route as form of suppository or retention enema for systemic effect. Okay, this route can also be used when the patient is recurrent vomiting or is unconscious. However, it is rather inconvenient and embarrassing. Absorption is slower, irregular, and often unpredictable. Though diazepam solution and paracetamol suppository are rapidly and dependably absorbed from the rectum in the children. Okay. So here the advantage is, if the patient is vomiting or unconscious, you can use rectal route. Okay, rectal inflammation can result from irritant drugs. This is the disadvantage of rectal route. The drugs that are given by rectal route are diazepam, indomethacin, paracetamol, ergotamine, and few other drugs. Okay. Next is cutaneous route. Highly lipid soluble drugs can be applied over the skin for slow and prolonged absorption. Liver is also bypassed. The drug can be incorporated in an ointment and applied over the specified area of skin. Absorption of drug can be enhanced by rubbing the preparation, by using an oily base, and by an occlusive dressing. Okay. Next route is inhalation route. Here, volatile liquids and gases are given by inhalation for systemic action. For example, general anesthetics, right? Here, absorption takes place from the vast surface of alveoli. Action is very rapid. See, there is a difference between inhalation route and nasal route. What is the difference? In inhalation route, absorption takes place from the vast surface of alveoli, means from lungs. Okay, but in nasal route, absorption takes place from the mucosal membrane of nose. Okay. When administration is discontinued, the drug diffuses back and is rapidly eliminated in expired air. Thus, controlled administration is possible with moment-to-moment adjustment. Irritant vapors cause inflammation of respiratory tract and increase secretion. Nasal route, as I have as I have talked in inhalation route, right? Nasal route uses mucous membrane of nose, which can readily absorb many drugs. Digestive juices and liver are bypassed, so it is the chief advantage of nasal route. Only certain drugs like GnRH agonist and desmopressin applied as a spray or nebulized solution have been used by this route. Okay. This route is being tried for some other peptide drugs like insulin, as well as to bypass blood-brain barrier. Okay. Next is parenteral route, which is used for emergencies. Conventionally, parenteral refers to administration by injection, which takes the drug directly into the tissue fluid or blood without having to cross the internal mucosa, which is the main advantage of parenteral route. The limitation of oral administration are circumvented here. Drug action is faster and surer, so parenteral route is valuable in emergencies. Gastric irritation and vomiting are not provoked. Parenteral routes can be employed even in unconscious, uncooperative, or vomiting patient. There are no chances of interference by food or digestive juices because the drug is not passing through your GIT. Here liver is bypassed, but there are some disadvantages also. Disadvantages of parenteral routes are the preparation has to be sterile. So parenteral route is costlier. The technique is invasive and painful. Assistance of another person is mostly needed. Okay, but some injections like insulin for diabetes, they can be taken by patient themselves. Okay, there are chances of local tissue injury, and in general parenteral route is more risky than oral route. Important parenteral routes in that first is subcutaneous route, in which the drug is deposited in the loose subcutaneous tissue, which is richly supplied by nerves. Therefore, irritant drugs cannot be injected by subcutaneous route. Okay, but subcutaneous route is less vascular, therefore absorption is slower than intramuscular route, where intramuscular is more vascular and less richly supplied by nerves, opposite to subcutaneous route. Only small volumes can be injected subcutaneously. Self-injection is possible because deep penetration is not needed here. This route should be avoided in shock patient who are vasoconstricted, because this route is less vascular, and the patient, if there is a shock patient, right, and vasoconstriction is there, then absorption will be delayed. Therefore, this route is avoided in shock patients. Repository or depot preparations that are aqueous suspension can be injected for prolonged action. Next is intramuscular route, right, which is opposite to subcutaneous route. Intramuscular injection is given in one of the large skeletal muscles like deltoid triceps, gluteus maximus, rectus femoris, etc. Here muscle is less richly supplied with sensory nerves, therefore mild irritant drugs can be injected, and is more vascular, therefore absorption of drug in aqueous solution is faster. So this is the advantage of intramuscular route. It is less painful, but self-injection is often impracticable because here deep penetration is needed. This is the disadvantage of intramuscular route. Depot preparations like oily solutions, aqueous suspensions can be injected by route. Intramuscular injection should be avoided in anticoagulant treated patients because it can produce local hematoma. Next is intravenous route. The drug is injected as bolus or infused slowly over hours in one of the superficial veins. The drug reaches directly into the bloodstream and effects are produced immediately. So it has a great value in emergency. The intima of vein is insensitive and drug gets diluted with blood. Therefore, even highly irritant drugs can be injected IV. But hazards are thrombophlebitis of the injected vein and necrosis of adjoining tissue if extravasation occurs. These complications can be minimized by diluting the drug or injecting it into a running IV. Only aqueous solutions, not suspensions, are administered by this route. Next is intradermal injection. The drug is injected into the skin, raising a bleb like BCG vaccine sensitivity testing or scarring multiple puncture of the epidermis through a drop of drug is done. This route is employed for specific purposes only. Okay, so this is all about routes of drug administration. Thank you, friends.